Welcome back, everybody. What's happening? What it is, it's your main man, Mantis, from Atlantis. And I'm here to continue this story so that y'all can understand the glory and the pain of a cyberpunk ATL. So check it out. First and foremost, let me make it clear, since this episode is dealing with the G's, the gangs, all the different territorial disputes, the street politics, whatever you want to call it. I want to make something real clear before we get into all these other street hustlers and all the pimp trick gangster cliques. Know this, no matter what I share about how fancy the street hustlers seem, they don't run shit. Yeah, you heard me right. I said they don't run shit. The real bosses are the governor, Gardner, and his constant attempts to sway the CEOs of the triple OG heads of corporations in the new USA. He wants them accepting his antiquated ways and still doing modern business in the state of Georgia, which don't go together like oil and vinegar, you understand what I'm saying? And that creates a hell of a lot of conflict between favorite corpo playgrounds of Metro ATL, which is why Mayor Vader just ain't hearing that shit. You go, girl. That's my baby. No, for real though. We're going to talk about that later. You'll understand by and by. This ain't that episode. I know y'all want to know how I get in them draws and how much pussy your brother get, but this ain't that episode. Pay attention. Calm down with your horny ass. So let's break it down, y'all. Get back in these streets and tell y'all how it really kicks. Now, you know the war is on between Governor Gardner and Mayor Vader. Metro ATL versus Plantation. But what you don't know is that behind closed doors at Plantation, all kind of seedy shit goes down, including connection to individuals like this. Meet the Piedmont Pimps. Yeah, I know. What a name, right? Yeah, some folks just don't care about their public image. But these ain't the types that take photo ops, and they stay behind closed doors most of their life. This is Lux. That's the androgynous one with the blue hair. And the one with the pink hair leaning forward trying to play tough blowing smoke, that's literally all he does. That's Pretty Pete. Now, these two drug dealing, pimping, any other type of entanglement they can get into trisexual motherfuckers are known throughout the entire ATL and Plantation for having connections to literally abducting any and everybody they see fit to work at their club, in addition to actual legal hires. But a great majority of young girls and boys, yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. It pisses me off and gets my blood boiling just to have to say this shit out loud. These motherfuckers take the kids sometimes from the raids of the Red Dogs and involve them in their club. Oh yeah, it gets that fucking ugly. Oh, but you know, because they do have locations outside of Metro ATL in Plantation, they are still considered by Gardner to be good license-holding adult entertainment facilities that are not open on Sundays, because that's the day that Gardner likes to have his private shows. Man, don't get me started. But anyway, to give y'all a little real history on how deep it goes, because I know y'all like stories, right? Now, y'all done seen my baby. Yeah, that's Miss Romania. She's actually from Romania. And when she first got to ATL, not knowing her way, she ended up doing a whole lot of little seedy stuff. Everything from a pickpocket, other levels of thievery, jewelry thief, you name it. Until she got into finding out about the clubs and dance. And she was a really good dancer. So she made her way to the pole from bartending first. That's usually the path. And she made a name for herself on it. So much so, Piedmont Pimps came and visited her at the club she was at the time, some little small rinky-dink operation. And they gave her more options with more money than she ever would have dreamed of. Of course, she loved that because she's a fancy type. So she got involved. But she regretted that quickly because she started to realize these guys don't just call the club Piedmont Pimps. They really are pimps. And they expected her to hoe. She wasn't with it. She turned a few tricks, but it also turned her stomach. She wanted out. They wouldn't let her out. Petey got physical with her. She came to me. She told me, I'll do anything to get out of that club. We didn't know each other well then, but we became friends, and I gave her a new job, and I told her everything's going to be all right. Of course, Petey started harassing, and I went to visit old Pete and Lux. We had this meeting, which you see going on in these images. Old Petey was popping shit from the minute I walked in the club. It was a very unexpected visit. They wanted to be prepared, but they weren't. I love coming up on motherfuckers when they don't expect it. Catch your ass sleeping. It's the best reality. So we had a little sit down, and of course, my darling Romania was quite nervous the whole time. But I had given her a plan before we walked in to make sure we were all on the same page. So when old Petey tried to talk over me and literally started to reach over me, put his hand on my hand on top of my leg to get to my lady friend, well, let's just say I don't remember what happened next. But I do know that when I came to, as we were leaving, I noticed that, well, Petey and Lux were laid out across a cracked, thick glass table that had been in front of us through the meeting. And there was glass everywhere. And their heads were smoking because they had been hacked by me and Miss Romania. Because one of my top gifts to all my girls is the top-notch cyberware to make sure they can defend themselves when boss man ain't around. Because my queens are queens. I don't have bitches. I'm not a pimp, contrary to what most people think. And I don't call my ladies hoes. And any motherfucker that don't understand when I set up the goddamn parameters and say hands off, motherfucker, I meant hands off. So when old Petey and Lux woke up, I guess you know they was wondering what in the hell just happened. Well, with the brain fart they were dealing with, they also noticed that, those two little Barbie-looking blondes that were in the backdrop, they came with us. Nah, they not real ladies, but they are ladylike in the best of ways. Yeah, I made them greeters at my club. Those are droids, and now they work for me. I took it as a gift and a sparing of them two motherfuckers' lives. Hey, Pete, what's up, Lux? Anytime, hoes. You know where I'm at. And the next time, I won't just crack the fucking table. I'm gonna take your fucking heads. Pause. So check it. Next up, my friends. We have friends. I actually get along with this next crew quite well. We go back, way back. Meet the Hoodoos. Yeah, Hoodoo fam. Hoodoo fam is just what it says, the Hoodoo Familia. Now, if you want to know, because I know you're saying, that sounds familiar. I've heard of Hoodoo. Hoodoo is Southern Voodoo. Well, is that like the Voodoo Boys? Yeah, exactly. It's a chapter of the Voodoo Boys in their own right. They're connected, but they do have their own lineage and their own way about things, their own traditions. It all comes from old school actual hoodoo, Southern Vodun actually. But they mix in a whole lot of very intricate, very deep understanding of cybernetics. Understanding of net running on a whole nother level. They make it a spiritual affair. They believe in ancestor worship. They believe in spirits within the matrix, so to speak. Yeah, it gets just that deep. And when you go over in their group, you literally become other than. Notice those two gentlemen standing behind the fortune-telling lady, which is what they use as often fronts for their way deeper operations that tend to be underground and basement warehouse situations with tons of high-tech, millions of dollars worth of high-tech equipment. Well, you notice the gentlemen have those potato sack type masks on with holes for their eyes, but the ports of the holes are so dark. Is there anything in there? No, there's not. Headless hunters of the hoodoo. Yeah, real spooks and haints do exist, and they're technologically enhanced. Once human, now cybergenetic mystics. It's just heavy as heavy gonna get. And when you got that kind of backup on these streets, don't too many folks fuck with the hoodoos. Ain't nobody trying to get hexed. Unless it's the real smarty-yard, corny motherfucking corporal type who hires some hoodoos to do his dirty work and finds out you can't flex on these people and you better pay them what they said the job is worth. Or you might find your white-collar ass in a damn cemetery on a 30-degree morning, shivering in the cold, and when you finally get your shit together and check your accounts, all your cards are denied, everything's bouncing, and you ain't got a dime to your motherfucking name. Oh, that includes your Swiss bank account. Just like that. Don't play with the hoodoo. Just don't want to be the one to fuck around and find out. Trust. Well, yeah, I got a real connection to them, and I'm down for the hoodoos when they down for me. We ride.
And next up, we got 76th Street. Sound familiar? Kind of reminds you of 6th Street out in Night City. Well, that's because they're connected. But unlike 6th Street, their membership is not quite as diverse, and it's noticeably so. I guess you could say it's a Southern tradition. You get my drift? Oh yeah, they like that. But they claim themselves to be the pure Americans. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you the type to say, I ain't got no identity, I am an American, no matter what you are, ethnically, yeah, you could be in 76. But that got old for certain members of 76, and they split off and became a thing called NTS, No Tread Society, based on the old tradition from the Revolutionary War of Don't Tread on Me, the rattlesnake, and all of that motif. Yeah, many of the groups tied in with them believe in that old philosophy of original American patriotism. And that conflicted a lot with the ideals of where 6th Street and 76 wanted to go. They are in ties with Governor Gardner. Yeah, 76 is about that life. But NTS, they not with it. As a matter of fact, they hate Gardner. They feel he starts to impede the rights of true democracy. And as crazy and wild as they can be, they ain't about that life. Now, every day for them can be the 4th of July, and they love a good barbecue. And they're totally all about red, white, and blue and these colors don't run and all that old shit. But when it comes to being told that they can't screw who they want to screw, get wild when they get wild, and they really don't give a damn about religion because they just worship the idea of the country itself, yeah, that would be the split. While 76 continues to push the rhetoric, them other good old boys, NTS, they'll pretty much get down with anybody who just don't infringe on their gun rights and loves to have a good old-fashioned American party. Yeah, they pretty much like that.
Because when it comes to 76ers, they can be one of the main henchmen that are sent out for dirty work of Gardner. Oh yeah, Gardner's definitely in cahoots with 76, even though he would deny having any dealings with any of those savage nomad groups. Yeah, right. He got them from here to Florida, all the way to the Glades and Connect. How you think Annie Mae went down? Anyway, if you don't know that story, check the last segment. I told y'all, class is in session, y'all. You're going to need to do this homework to keep up. Next group, I guess I'll go ahead and get all the ones that came through implants from Night City out the way. We got good old-fashioned, you know them when you see them, Valentinos! Yeah, but these are Valentinos Sur.
Sureños y sureñas.
Yeah, these are the southern branch of the Valentino. That's what Sur is, by the way, if you don't know your Spanish. Get up on your Spanish. It's good to know more than poquito. Si, senor? Si, amigas? Yeah, these Valentinos is just as raw out here as they are over there. And I know, because I've been in and out of Night City a lot, and I still got work out that way. So the main difference I would say about the Valentino Sur is they do have a bit more Texas influence, because most of their members were in Texas also before they made their way over to Georgia. They tend to have the same family loyalty values. They're very serious about getting their cyber augmentations properly gold-plated, all right? They're going to pimp it out, okay? They're going to have the bling-bling in the thing, and they're going to be packing that show enough heat, and they just as lethal as you ever knew them to be. That's right. Valentinos, they recognize and they represent a lot of aspects of Mexican cultura, and as proud as they can be, yeah, they still a big mixed-up group, because as big as they get, wherever they go, they end up warring with each other and having different factions. But if you come fucking with one of them, you best believe they'll all be on your ass real quick. Rapido. See, senor? Please believe it. Next up, we got, wow, some homegrown legends. What I tell you, they slick as owl shit, and they wild as they want to be. They have a lot of fun. I give them that. This right here, yo, that's off-grid. Off-grid riders. Started by this G in the middle here. Two-timer. That boy, wow. Two-timer, call himself two-timer for many reasons. For one thing, he like to tote two twin Glocks at all times. And you see this clique, how they standing in the mall bossed up? Everybody's in designer, luxury clothing and everything. Oh yeah, malls still exist. And then places like districts like Lenox are their favorite haunt. Oh yeah, they the reason why new security has to be implemented almost monthly. Oh yeah. See, the thing about these folks is they ain't interested in standing on no corner with their pants hanging off their ass acting hard. No. These motherfuckers is classy, fly, fresh, bold and flashy, but eloquent in a certain kind of way, you know? Everything they touch and everything they want is going to be top tier. It's going to be name brand. It's going to be the luxury of luxury. That's what they known for. And in ATL, when we say booster gang, well, yeah, it still means what it means in Night City, a little bit. But over here, we mean boosting as in these fools be robbing everything. Don't blink twice. Your watch is gone, and where the hell did your wallet go? Shit, if your doggone cyberware ain't up to date, they may steal your whole fucking account link through your goddamn servers. They just that raw, y'all. They just that raw, I'm telling you. There's some bad girls and boys. And I got a little bit of history with the old two-timer. He was one of my first mercs when I started in the game. Young boy at the time, trying to prove himself. He wasn't that good of a merc, though. He was always best if it was thievery. When it came to taking folks out, he talk a lot of shit, but he don't want to have to blast them guns. He the kind of dude who, man, if I can keep it pretty, he ain't trying to get no blood on his outfit. And he gonna make sure the outfit is fresh, and you may never see him in the same thing twice. That's a general rule of everybody in the off-grid riders. Now, why they call themselves off-grid? Well, there's this whole debate about what's inside the perimeter and what's outside the perimeter. The perimeter meaning 285, the main highway that circles most of what was traditional ATL in the metro. Well, most of their members lived outside And even though old two-timer was born inside the metro, in straight up ATL, he a 4th Ward boy, via Bankhead and a whole bunch of other hoods. Yeah, he real hood with it. But he understood real quick. He had gotten a little too hood up in the A. So he started living out the way. And he also understood that there was a whole lot of other folk that had that same plan that would still be into that life. And he just organized a lot of fledgling gangs, young ones that didn't know what the hell they was doing. Ones trying to be bad and do a little bit of thievery on the side. He made them focus on the get by. Taught them the best ways of being slick. Don't go in and just bag everything. This fool used to work for the stores and be hauling shit out the back. This fool used to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, manager. The shipment didn't come in last night. We got proof of it on the cameras," which he had hacked. So you don't see when his boys literally cleared out the store. Man, they raw. And then they got their own shops all over and they sell. Plus, they starting their own damn clothing lines. These boys wild, but I give them credit. They are enterprising and quite entertaining. But yeah, that's off-grid ride. Next up, we got my big homie right here. This is a good brother. We go back, and he's a solid cat. That's High Joker. High Joker as in, High Joker slap it on my head, shawty, we gonna get this here book in a game of spades. It's a very loyal, important game to their code. They known as Crunk Mob. Yeah, Crunk Mob is literally one of ATL's oldest nomad groups. Primarily black, with some other diverse membership too. There's even a couple of their clans that are completely mixed, but the original clan is mostly African American, and they do have other members, as I say, Latinos, Asians, everybody. Real cool, real Afrocentric, unless you're talking about certain things, and then you're going to see their ratchet side, because they wild, they fun, but they do mean business. And they do what most nomads do. They do everything for family. They do everything for the tribe. And when they get down, they get down. He is cybergenetically fully enhanced, ex-football player, ex-military, you know, the usual drill for a big motherfucker with muscles like that and glowing veins. Yeah, he juiced with some of the same shit I got experimented on when I was in military. He fought in the wars, real tough, serious, solid cat. Most of their crew likes to roll in bikes, but they also do a jacked up monster truck and a heartbeat. They love old school rides. They love everything old school, but they love the new too. And their newer members they call Deuces Wild. Yeah, again, space game. If you know, you know. Yeah, the Deuces Wilds are the young cats that tend to hang out in the city more so. They do raids whenever needing supplies and things of that nature. But out in the woods, that's where they do the big licks. Anybody coming through on a caravan unapproved or ain't paying the dues, oh, you gonna be taxed. And if you don't pay up, well, let's just say there's a lot of holes out in the woods and there's even more bones at the bottom of the rivers. You dig? Yeah, Crunk Mob. So if you ever had a Crunk Mob engagement, it's going to feel like one big black family reunion. Man, you ain't going to hear nothing but old school, hip-hop, crunk, R&B, a little bit of trap. But they going to cut that shit off quick and put it back on something they can yeet to. And if you don't know what a yeek is, shawty, you need to just stay your ass home because you ain't invited to this cookout. And they officially called the OG members the Yeeks. Yeah, it's a total homage to old school ATL. Now, another rule you want to listen to. If you were to ever be invited to the cookout, somebody come up to you, "Hey, shawty, you want to bust a game of spades?" Just say no, all right? It ain't worth your life. They take the damn game too serious. I said they take the damn game too serious, all right? I joke with him every time I come around. I say, hey, I'm here to do business. I ain't here to play no goddamn games. You know, crazy-ass joker be talking his shit. I say, hey, boss, I ain't playing y'all motherfuckers. Y'all too goddamn good, and you take the game too motherfuckers serious. I had to kill everybody in this bitch, and they just fall out laughing. We get along just fine. That's Crunk Mob. Them my folks. And don't forget to take a plate with you. Get you some barbecue to go and some of that soul food. Best you done never had in this life, because don't nobody else eat like the nomads eat, baby. They still killing their own deer, their own wild hogs, and getting their own fish. Yeah, I hang with them a lot for that too. That's how I stay organic and looking like something. Because if you eating all this shit in the city, yo, I ain't religious, but I'm finna start praying for you. Now, for the record, Crunk Mob and a lot of nomad groups like them are not gang. Unless you, of course, are listening to gardeners' radio outlets or TV outlets. Oh, yeah, every damn thing is a gang if it got any connection to Atlanta and the metro. So let me tell y'all about the Bozos. Yeah, you heard right. The Bozos. The Bozos, as you can see, are a clown gang like no other. They love to do body modification. And we mean the strangest type, okay? I'm talking about that guy with the moon-shaped crescent head. That's his real head. Yeah, they do the type of insane cybergenetic augmentations that no other gang would. mostly to alter their body, but also to hide weapons within their body, create all types of toxins, poisonous, electrical, fire-based weapons, you name it, they packing, and they got some heat for that ass. I gotta say, they are completely obsessed with chrome. They take it to another level, kind of like Maelstrom would on the West Coast, and they actually get down with Maelstrom sometimes for their alterations. But when I say theirs takes it to a whole nother level, it's kind of an understatement. Now, they love to play pranks. As far as they're concerned, life is a game, a violent game, a reaction to their cyberpsychosis. And every member, for whatever reason, really thinks that what they do is funny, even though it's totally twisted and sick. Now, it may start off innocent. It may start off innocent. It may seem cute at first, but I promise you, it's gonna get ugly. I don't care how pretty it is. The women too, oh, they raw. They tend to be the types who get fed up with their lover boys. You know, the fuck boys that mess over a woman so long till their heart been broken so many times that they lose their fucking mind. Yeah, that's the kind of ladies they like in this clique. And they will take them out one by one, serial killer style, you know? Now, there was once even a bozo gang that took over the 13th floor at Grady Hospital, aka the psychiatric ward, if you don't know. Now, can you imagine the madness that took place for 2 days until the cops finally got the situation under control? That's how they roll. Not too many folks will hire a clown to do a damn thing these days, because they fucking creepy as hell, right? But there are some stupid gonks out here that will have bozos at their kid's birthday party. Are you out of your fucking mind? First of all, look, man, just about any time you see a clown in ATL, these days, they rolling with the bozos, you understand? And I promise you, it's gonna be nasty. Yeah, they might not do nothing to your kids, but they're gonna have nightmares and trauma for the rest of their life, because they're gonna kill every adult in the party and steal everything in the house worth something, you understand? Complete nutty. Now, if you come in contact with this dude right here, this is when you really head for the hill. That right there is Bozo for life. That right there is Ozob for life. He ain't the original Ozob. He's the, I wish I could have met Ozob. Now, who is Ozob? Ozob, yeah, I know. Some of y'all smart ones figured that out, right? It's Bozo backwards. Ozob was a Brazilian merc bozo. Yeah, a king of the bozos. A legend in Night City. This cat was crazy as fuck. He got into a damn fist fight for pleasure with V one time. Literally, it was a damn prize fight in a whole ring of like Fight Club type shit. Wasn't nobody even around to really see it, except for a couple of passerbys. V ended up getting the best of him, and he hit that little red button in the middle of his face. No, it's not a nose like normal. No, it ain't the ball. You know what that is? That's a fucking grenade, y'all. This son of a bitch was crazy enough to have a grenade implanted in his motherfucking face. So I guess you know what happened to him. Yep, pop goes the weasel. V won that one. Technical knockout. But anyway, the craziness of it is, he's a legend amongst the bozos. So much so that this kid from Forest Park in ATL area grew up looking at brain dances of all of Ozob's best exploits. Now, what's a brain dance? We're going to get deep into that later, but to give you a quick explanation, brain dance is like a virtual reality machine system you put on your head and you watch these realistic videos of people doing all types of shit. Now, most of it is not innocent shit, but it can be. You know, you can watch some of, you know, your favorite home videos with your family, your cute little dog and everything. But nah, that ain't what people mean usually when they say, hey man, you like that brain dance? They talking about some porn. They talking about some fucking killing sprees. They talking about literally stepping into the feet of murderers, right? Because you literally become, it's like playing a video game where you become whatever it is you watching. Very, very, very intense shit. Yeah. So old Ozob for life is literally the kid who is paying complete life homage to Ozob. Yeah, every day this motherfucker get dressed the same goddamn way. All he got is a collection of shirts that say something about Ozob, got a picture of Ozob. Everything he talk about is when Ozob did this, did that, if he talks at all, because he don't talk a lot. Yeah, he's the quiet type. But if you got too much to say, you might want to not be around. Yeah, definitely not. But so, crazy thing about this one, not only did he go and get the exact same implant of the famous grenade pushed into his face, yeah, he got a real bad infection from that, but I think it healed kind of nicely, don't you? Shit, boy, what the fuck you do to your face? So anyway, this fool here got deep into cyberware, as they all do. Went from cheap knockoff brand arms to some real hulking pick up a car and throw it type shit. Yeah, he loaded like that. And his favorite hobby is decorating his white tea collection with stains. Yeah. Stains. Yeah, the kind that come from bodily fluids and people get hit with them type of genetic fist. You know what I mean? Now what's crazy, you would think this dude don't get no damn play. This 7 foot tall giant of a man But guess what? The ladies love this fool. Well, the ones who already lost their mind and went crazy, them types like I told you about. You always end up with some baddie, right? And all you need them to do is keep putting activator on his curl. Yeah, that's a curl. He's mixed black and white, and he brought back the Jerry curl. Don't laugh, goddammit. I told you these motherfuckers ain't no joke. What you laughing about? I'm serious. They like wearing curls. Well, at least if they get down with his game. That's kind of one of the things he might have them doing for initiation. But he don't have no members. He a one-man game because every time he gets somebody, he force them through the initiation of not only running on a couple of heist gigs, but they got to get the grenade. And they always like, dude, what you talking about? You serious? Why can't you just be the one with the grenade? No, he's like, everybody in Ozark got to have a grenade. We got to pay homage to our legend. Oh boy. And that's usually how he falls out with his girlfriends too, because he always presses them. In the beginning, it's all cute. It was love, they all into each other. Look at that, all booed up. Look at that cute. Till one day he say, like the girl come to you and say, yo, so what are we doing? What's our title? Are we really in this? But he reverses it on him. He be like, so what are we doing, baby? I mean, like, when you gonna show that you down for that Ozark? She like, what you talking about? Of course I love Ozark for life. You're Ozark for life. And he's like, no. I need you to get that grenade in your motherfucking face. And they either hit for the heels or they end up in other kills. Real ugly around these parts. Okay, one last lesson about these motherfuckers because they too much to be talking about. And that is if you ever hear some crazy sirens behind you that don't sound like normal, or you notice that the police cars are moving real funny and not driving according to protocol, and then you hear a motherfucker on the intercom that don't sound professional and they keep laughing between every word, you look back and see that there's some clowns in the cars. Do not, I repeat, do not pull over and do not stop till you are to safety. If you pull over because you done ran out of gas, run, motherfucker, run. Because you got the bozos chasing you. And they ain't trying to give you no regular ticket. Maybe they trying to give you a damn death certificate. It's real shit. Ain't no more playing GA. Don't fuck with them clowns. So, the next major gang, and quite frankly, one of the most legendary in the entire city, is the mighty Tiger Stripes. Tiger Stripes are one of Atlanta's most lethally connected, feared, and sometimes often disrespected gangs because of their can-be ridiculous obsession with anime, manga, and cosplays of the like. The obsession with these things, in addition to the mixing of trap music culture, has created a very strange culmination of kids that, whether they even came up in a hood or not, wanting to be hood, and also blending that with their fandom of this Japanese art form. So, when this thing started, it wasn't a gang at all. It was literally 3 dorky-ass, nerdy-ass little kids hanging out, playing video games, arguing about their top 5 hip-hop tracks of all time. Who was the best in this? Who was the best in that? Who could beat who in what anime and what manga? Yeah, they were really some innocent, geeky-ass kids. First you had a boy wonder who was destined for fame, Kenyavius Stryden Carter, who would become the world's most famous lyrical genius rapper from ATL by the age of 20. But first, at 13, he had to survive Clayton County, aka Clayco. He lived in the suburban hood with a hard-working poor family. His mom and dad had moved to Atlanta from Chicago when Kenyavius was only 5. Kenyavius was 13 when he met the crew at his charter school, being bussed in because he was in part of this program. It was a magnet for smart kids like him from the hood. It was his only chance to get in that environment, which had its pluses and its total minuses, being that the area it was Johns Creek, which was absolutely a part of plantation and still is. Ethan Hildeberg, one of his top homies. The young white kid was very impressionable, and him and Kenyavius at both at 13 when they met would love to meet up and talk about gaming and comics and things like that. So they instantly became friends. His mom is the rich subdivision Karen type, and his dad is the never home because he's always fucking secretaries type. So that made for a lot of time after school when Kenyavius could come by and dip out before his mom ever got home, and his dad was never home. So they hung out real strong. And then there's his mixed black and white friend, 16-year-old, a little bit older than them, who thought he was such a badass, but he ain't all that. Boy named Michael Maurice Duckworth. No wonder he changed his goddamn name, because with a name like that in the streets, he wasn't gonna last long. He grew up in a wealthy suburban area close to where the charter school was. But at 15, he left home and was living like a grown-ass man in the Lenox area in a condo paid for by his dad's royalties for being a famous sound technician for rocker boys. Sounds like he had it made in high school. Yeah, maybe, but not really. He wasn't ready for that life, and it scarred him later. We'll get to that. Mike and Ethan were predestined to follow their snobbish parents' footsteps in corporate reality, and they hated it, so they rebelled. Kenyavius, being the super smart kid from the hood, took nothing for granted and understood what a blessing it was for him to even have an opportunity to get out of the hellhole that he would have been in if he had went to the school he was truly district to. But going in and out of plantation checkpoints was never easy every day. being eyed down by the plantation patrol, plus the occasional Red Dog units. Yeah, he got an early exposure to all that craziness. But one day, when Ethan's mom came home early and ventured into their mostly soundproof concrete bomb shelter basement, aka Ethan's boy cave, she saw Michael and Kenyavius for the first time and flipped the fuck out. The boys were blasting uncensored cyberpunk trap rap, playing adult-level video games, throwing darts at a picture of Governor Gardner. Oh, they was having them a good old time. But the fun didn't last long, because the ugly of it was the picture of Gardner on the wall was the main thing that set off Ethan's mom. See, at that particular moment in history, Gardner was on a warpath because he was under indictments yet again for his sexual misconduct and the threat of the famous Annie Mae files coming out. Oh, y'all don't know about Annie Mae yet? Keep telling y'all. You got to go back and watch that other video so y'all can peep this. Check the deets. Anyway, let's get back to it. So, her being a loyal minion of his bullshit and loving her some Governor Gardner, she was so irate with her son. And then to have the audacity to have these street hoodlums from this other side of town in her house when her father's not home and when she's not home. Of course, she wasn't having it. She kicked the boys out, and her and Ethan spent the rest of the night arguing and fussing as usual. But the worst part was she discovered that Ethan had found his dad's stash of brain dance, adult pornographic, highly gratuitous violence, straight full throttle brain dances. And enterprising Ethan, being the technician he was, a DJ and a videographer, had found a way to bootleg them and was planning with his friends to start selling them at school, which they were already selling a few a day here and there and getting a little bit more popularity at school because of it. And they had big plans to get rich off it, which was based on reality because they came across one particular tape. And it led to other tapes. And they realized his dad had a fascination with these gang tapes from Night City, particularly brain dances from the Tiger Claws. Now, the Tiger Claws are one of Night City, California's most lethal organizations. They're connected to Yakuza-level organizations that actually control the mega corporation known as Arasaka. Yeah, it's heavy shit. And watching the exploits of their much further down the pecking order street gangs known as the Tiger Claws definitely would have had a lot of material that no 13 or 16-year-old needed to be looking at. But these boys were going to be boys, right? So you already know. They were enterprising and realizing a whole nother reality, and they were diving in deep in the worst ways. Aside from the stash of Tiger Claw footage, Ethan and his crew had also discovered that his dad had a very rare tape, something called Annie Mae tapes. Now, these boys didn't know what that was at the time. And it was a bootleg version that was put at the end of some Tiger Claw adventures. Yeah, real bootleg shit. They had literally found everything they needed to make them rich, complete with all of the high energy, sex, murder, and mayhem that the Tiger Claws are known for on their video. These boys were hooked, and so were all the other kids at their school once they started selling. So much so that the race was on to see who would create the top edited, remixed, bootleg brain dances. And the three-boy crew ended up winning the race and becoming little teen celebrities throughout a network of schools, all the way from the wealthiest areas to the poorest. But selling in the hood high schools was too dangerous, so after getting robbed and beat up a few times, the boys started working strictly on the campuses of schools like their charter school. That quickly got all three of them kicked out, expelled. At their actual school, they couldn't come no more. Plus other rich private schools. When Ethan got kicked out, he lived with Michael for a while. Michael didn't have to explain himself because he had already been living on his own, pretending he was grown. And his parents simply didn't give a fuck what he was doing. He was doing well already, living like a man at 16. Even though he had money, he had never known love from his dad nor his mom. Both had never really wanted to have kids, and it showed in how they just thought they could gift their way into keeping him satisfied. Kenyavius, on the other hand, simply broke his recently divorced mom's heart as his parents went through their lot of struggles coming to Atlanta, thinking things would be better, but found that it would only be worse another way. Pressure of all this broke them up. The streets got Kenyavius caught up, and these brain dancers were selling good money. And while that was a risk, it was easy, and the money was only getting better. Ethan and Michael pulled their combined wealth from brain dance and parental allowances together and purchased a dump of a warehouse in an industrial zone. Fulton Industrial to be exact. If you know the ATL, you feel what I'm saying. Homeless were hanging out all the time. Not too many gangs, unless you want to count the craziest of the homeless people. So one day, Michael, to show off that he had invested in having protection, got him a full clip and let loose in the parking lot. He didn't shoot anybody, but the message was clear. Don't fuck around here. Well, boys never had any issues anymore from the homeless folks. And they never got robbed. They set up shop real quick and had themselves the perfect little teenage apartment for Ethan and Kenyavius. It became a weekend party zone for top customers of their brain dance. It was also where they built their equipment and their videos. Kenyavius carved out a small corner of the warehouse to be his closet studio and started working on his music. The other boys did music too. Ethan was not a bad DJ, so he would mix some great beats. Michael thought he was a good rapper, but his flow was pretty terrible. Still, his voice and cleverness at times was impressive. They cut a mixtape for fun, and it sparked a little interest in Kenyavius especially as a local rapper to watch. They always had each other's back and supported each other, at least in the beginning, denying the truth of their differences, but all that would come to the surface. They started selling on college campuses, tripled the profit. Pressure from security guards got too heavy because this was right around the time of Governor Gardner's sexual abuse allegations resurfacing yet again. And the infamous Annie Mae tapes were literally put in circulation from Ethan mixing a segment of them as a bonus content to a brain dance for the Tiger Claws. Wow, he didn't even know what he had released. Most of the kids in Atlanta did not know anything about Annie Mae or who she was or care, but the parents knew. And when the effect of the videos became so bad that kids were dying from spending days locked into watching these tapes, shit hit the fan. Bootleg copies did not share, as I said, the standards to make you get up and wipe your ass, eat, or do anything normal. So kids would literally be stuck on a machine all day until they found somewhere dehydrated or worse. Yeah, pretty deep shit. But Gardner used it as a political ploy to make him seem like the savior. Private schools and what is left of public school parents' facilities were sent strict expulsion notices to let them know that if their child was found to be watching or selling bootleg copies of any series of brain dance, yeah, he called himself trying to make it like it was about all brain dances. Nah, motherfucker, you was looking for the Annie Mae tapes. Yeah, he made it that they would be expelled and could face legal ramifications. And this order was put in place directly by Governor Gardner. The religious zealots who truly felt that this man was looking out for their kids and it was easy for them, they did whatever he asked them. Governor Gardner himself and his cronies would start hosting these political rallies where they would have bonfires to burn the expensive brain dance equipment and cartridges. The real issue is that typically only rich kids can afford the best equipment for brain dance anyway. So these same parents bought kids the equipment with the intention of them watching the 10% of brain dance made for legit educational experiences. But roughly 90% of anything that's brain dance is not for kids. So why you think they could create mountains of brain dance equipment? Because all them damn parents was a bunch of fucking pervs, that's why. Anyway, hell, it's not safe for the minds of most adults either. Yeah, this place wild, ain't it? Welcome to Georgia. Oh shit, welcome to the hole in USA. But if you ain't able to control your viewing urges, for real talk, because they got us all hooked on this shit, the effects and anxiety can be addictive. All of this happened around the same time that Gardner was being investigated to be impeached, as I said, yet again. But this time around, with these new bootlegs for Annie Mae on the streets, thing is, there was new footage, deeper footage, dirtier footage, shit that truly showed this motherfucker in action, abusing that girl and more. Yeah, and it was all put out by these young kid hustlers. And then when they realized what they had, of course, they became quick millionaires. Kids had this code so that they know who was and was not a legit customer. You know, they were literally worried about being tapped by undercover agents and things. So that if someone approached them and said, for instance, hey yo, I heard you like that anime. They don't pronounce it like anime. They would specifically say, you got that anime? And that's when they would know that they could charge the max for what was about to come out the pocket for the hand-to-hand. Yeah, y'all, it's like that. Ethan's dad never checked his son for exploiting his stash because his parents ended up getting a divorce. And if he had ever made a big deal about his stash of brain dance videos that literally led to what could get Governor Gardner impeached, you know for sure he would have buried him in court for this divorce. And wow, Ethan's editing skills got better and better, and their product quality went through the roof exponentially. But the pressure was just simply too much. No matter how good the tapes got, the possibility of getting arrested and spending the rest of your life on a plantation prison, that wasn't in the cards. So the boys had to come up with a new plan. Governor got his wishes, and more, the bonfires kept roaring, and people pretended to always throw everything they had in the fire. You know damn full well there's still copies out there floating. But for the most part, it was hush-hush about what you had seen if you did have a copy of it. So how did the tiger stripes come to be? Well, It was literally lingo for all the sales that the kids were doing as little hustling. If a customer came up and they wanted to know who they were meeting because they had never seen them before, sure, they could get online, but all that was under surveillance. So a lot of times they would just do quick calls with all kind of coded words and give a meetup spot. They'd always say, "I'll be in stripes." And that was a signal to them for customers to know. Look for somebody either wearing stripes or a tiger striped outfit or something that represented tigers, because these kids were first known for selling tiger claws videos, in addition to the Mocs. Now, who the Mocs? The Mocs was a group of sex workers in Night City, California, who were basically pimped out by the tiger claws. So they know, hey man, they got the tiger claw tapes. They got known as the tiger stripes. It's just a code. Then the code went deeper because the kids joking around one day, Mike and Kenyavia said, you know, we a black crew. I mean, Ethan is like basically honorary black, because even though he a punk rock white kid, he still likes black music real hard. And what are the stripes on a tiger? Them shits is black. This is Mike talking. Kenyavius was like, tiger stripes. And that was the beginning. And Ethan felt more and more part of the crew than ever and loved every bit of it. His dream had come true. He was finally a cool kid from any part of Atlanta with all kind of connections because of all his sales and his editing of this massive collection of tapes. So that's how it all began, literally. But how did it turn into a literal criminal organization known for all the typical stuff that gangs participate in? Well, for one thing, they already had a low street career, being down by law, still out here hustling in the times of Gardner's crackdowns and knowing that any false move could get them locked up. They let go of the anime tapes because that was a sure bet that your ass would end up in plantation. But they did start hustling music videos and other stuff related to music, and especially Kenyavius videos and all of his mixtapes. And that became, slowly but surely, almost as popular as their Tiger Claw tapes. In addition to every now and then somebody still wanted that anime for top dollar, and they would go through all kind of craziness to get it to their hands and dip out the way as fast as possible. So they were making a mint, and everybody was going their separate ways and living their wild lives, even though they were still partying together. Michael started to become more and more distant. He was partying a hell of a lot, drinking hard, doing drugs, wilding the fuck out, and hanging with some kids that Ethan nor Kenyavius knew. And they didn't like him because they had real foul energy on them, like some real gangsters, some real cyberpunk motherfuckers that's always into some shit. Especially this one kid from Miami called Butterball Slim. Yeah, him and Mike, they started getting into cosplay stuff together, but not for fun. They would literally dress up and go rob shit. Yeah, like that. All of that had nothing to do with the way Kenyavius and young Ethan wanted to run. So they more or less were happy that Mike was distancing himself, but they were worried about it. So they would call business meetings to try and get back on point as a crew for the sales of the tapes. Mike would never show up. He never called. He never get in touch at all. No one knew where the fuck he was half the time. And if he ever did at least post anything on his social media, he was always half drunk, half high, and had 20 holes in his face and was talking shit with that Butterball cat while they smoking and joking about all of their latest crimes. Yeah, these motherfuckers was literally getting famous online for talking about the stupid shit they doing in the streets. I tell you, they never learn, these kids. But for smarter Kenyavius and Ethan, they just decided we're going to be the two-man crew to make it happen. We can't worry about him. We got to go get it. We started this thing. We'll finish this thing. And that was going smooth for a while. But then Ethan got a girl pregnant. Yup. And he had to move out of the warehouse. Kenyavius had enough money of his own to move out too. So they sold the warehouse and everybody got their own places. That in some ways kind of destroyed the whole crew. Now Ethan and Kenyavius stayed cool forever, but with his new responsibilities and needing like 3, 4, 5 jobs to hold up in that economy, yeah, Kenyavius would help him out, but pretty much he was on his own finding his way in the music biz. And he had made some real good connections, so it wasn't hard for him. Plus it was time for him to get a new name. He was literally going by his first name. He thought, shit, sounds unique enough. Then enough of his fans even started saying, man, what the fuck is your name though, dog? You gonna literally use your government? So he got tired of that. And he thought about it. He said, you know what? I live in Clayco. And I think I'm a pretty cool cat that most people like, which was true. And in this world, when you're a friend, people call you Choom. It's an African word. Choombada, Choom. Yeah. And so he decided, shit, I'm the most likable dude I know and everybody else know. I'm Clayco Choom. And the star was born. Now, I guess everybody decided to change their name in the next few years. So Mike and his new crew, hanging out with Butterball, decided they would keep a samurai theme to everything they did. And dabbling in the little bit of Japanese they knew, he decided to call himself Ran Sutoraipu. Now, Ron Sutoraipu is stripe in Japanese. So he was literally saying he was the big trouble, the dangerous stripe. Yeah, and the Tiger Stripes were truly reborn as an absolute gang, causing all kind of hell, mostly in Buckenheads, Lenox, and Limburg areas, not to mention other zones. Ron was out there making his name on the streets, and as I said, young Clayco Chum was born. His fans loved the name, the girls was feeling him, the money was still rolling from selling tapes, because even though him and Ethan wouldn't see each other that often, they would meet up still to exchange tapes, get ideas, and go back to the grind. And it was working for him. So then, Clayco Chum released his first ever freshman project. What did he call it? A Chicago Kid Gone Wrong. Now this underground tape literally blew the funk up. Homie was out there big time. I'm a little too old for some of this shit, but even I was rocking to it when it first came. I was like, boy, this little boy got some shit. Look at this. Yeah, hell yeah. He had catchy songs about adolescent goals and accomplishments. Those were his positive tracks. He'd tell stories about him and his crew hustling. Yeah, he'd get into the ratchet shit too. But he also was a skateboarder. He'd talk about that life. He'd talk about his favorite animes and comics. And he'd say it in a hard way, like, I wish a motherfucker would call this corny or lame. And the truth is, most kids was into it, so they didn't. They loved it. Movies and shows, smoking weed, drinking, all the shit he wasn't supposed to be doing at them young times. And he alluded to those gang associations too, but never saying that he was officially affiliated. He just pretty much used his street cred with the natural fact that he was one of the founding members of what got known as the Tiger Stripes. Again, he was very careful not to align himself with what Ron was doing, because that could be catastrophic.